Hi, I'm Alex. Welcome to my channel and to this fiery practice for your hips today. A combination of movement and drills to get us warm. The hips don't lie and neither will I. You're definitely going to feel a little something either during or after this practice, but it's going to be a short one. So let's dive straight in. You're going to come to stand first. So we're going to just draw a little bit of movement with these ninja lunges. So just moving one side to the other so that we can begin to warm up the hips and the inner thighs and just that general area of the body. We don't want to go into it cold, so if there's any kind of little pops and cracks and things like that, we can get some of those out the way before we begin. And this is about exploration, so please don't feel like you've got to go as intense as possible, whether you're deep or whether or not you're backed off. You are going to have that sensation and get the benefit out of it no matter what. And if you want to, you can just draw your arms into it as well, but it's entirely up to you. You can come down low if you feel like you've got movement already, but perhaps if it's first thing in the morning, maybe not. You might choose to stay quite high. There we go. Okay, so let us just heel toe the feet a little bit closer together, but slightly wider than the hips. And we're just gonna spin the hips from side to side, so just turning the feet out as we do and coming a little bit lower down. And you can use the floor to support you, okay? You don't have to come down quite this low, entirely up to you at this point, but it's always up to you. But we're just gonna spin and move. You might play with taking one hand away as you twist. And just draw maybe the knee out a little bit, or the hip. And then we're going to move in between these types of movements with a few little drills. So we're going to come to some hip dip drills. So I'm going to turn to the side. And I'm going to stay as we are. So feet in roughly the same position. Fingertips down. You can choose to take them away in a moment if you like. I'm going to do about 8 of these. And we're just going to draw the hips up, lengthen out the legs a little bit, but they don't have to be straight, so the knees can be bent, and then come back down. So it's up to you if you choose to come into this full squat shape, like me, or you might be kind of half squat, like this. You might come up onto the balls of the feet as you come down. Let's see what works for you. And just go for it. It's just 8, we've already done 5. So now just 2 more to go. I've taken my hands away. Last one. And release it down. And then just continue that movement. We're going to stay to the side just for a moment. We're going to bring the spine into it a little bit. So you might choose to take the hands behind you. Or you might choose to take them up and reach. You might be a little bit more static in that and just hold it there for a moment. There's no right or wrong. Just play with the twist. Now I'm going to turn around because we're going to move on to our next set of drills, which is our knee taps. So we're going to potentially just drop one knee down and then drop the other side down. Now, you don't have to bring the knee all the way down, and you can use the floor to support you, or you can rest the hands on the hips. Again, we're just gonna do 8 combined, because this one can be a little bit more intense. And then we're gonna move that out there before coming down onto our bottoms and taking the legs straight out in front and give them a little bit of a shake this time. Maybe you just windshield wiping the knees from side to side for a moment. Just check in on how that felt. Maybe a little bit of a burn. Okay, so we're going to work with this shape here. I'm going to come over to the left side. We're going to just see if we can allow the knee to connect with the bottom of the foot, and just draw the hands over this front leg Just coming into the kind of glute and IT band area a little bit as well. And then we're going to use the hands to support us as we take it over to the other side. So opposite knee touches opposite foot, and play with the depth as you come forwards over the front leg, whichever side you are on. You might come down a little bit lower. Just work into that movement, a little bit of freedom. Okay, from here, also, before we move on, you can play with doing this without the hands. It's a good way of exploring the movement. But you might find that you travel a bit when you do. So the hands can be a good stability or anchor point. Again, you play with a twist. This time when we come over to this left side, we're going to lift the right foot and draw ourselves forward. You might come up onto the ball, you might keep that foot planted. So it's kind of like a half squat, as if you're going to get up and walk away. Draw the leg back, support yourself over to the opposite side, and then again, draw it forwards, or sink into that half squat. Reframe, come up and over. And then as you get into the swing of it, you might find that you can find a little bit more fluidity in that. So it's less about the shape in between and just a little bit more primal in the movement, as if you were just playing around, whether it's with kids or something else. That's the ultimate goal, right? To join in, to have fun, to be curious, and to create space in the body. The hips hold on to a lot, and our kind of sedentary lifestyle at times, with being seated in our jobs or doing lots of driving, all that kind of stuff, can impact the hip flexors and the low back and restrict our movement quite a lot. Come back to center, and then again, just take a couple of windshield wipers. And all of that exploration, hands up, hands down, you know, maybe something like that. You know, you don't come up, maybe you can just kind of come inside and lean into how that feels. Maybe that. And then you're gonna bring the legs straight out in front of you and give them a shake. We are gonna finish off this short but fiery sequence. You might find a little bit of comfort in that last bit of movement with a static squat. So we're gonna come up like so. And just bear in mind that when we hold something with a little bit more stillness, we might need a bit more support. So in an ideal world, we want to bring the heels down. So you might want to cushion them with your mat or a blanket, or you might not want to come down quite so deep. You might choose to support yourself with something like the sofa and rest your bottom there. But what we're aiming for is to hold this for about a minute and finding length in the spine as we do. So we want to avoid this rounding out. So drawing the elbows out in between the knees and kind of getting a release for the low back whilst being deeply seated into our hips and remaining core activated at the same time. Now, if we did this for 5 minutes, it might be a little bit dull, but it is a really good way to increase the suppleness and flexibility of the back line of the body. So if you suffer from tight hamstrings, tight calves, or there's a lot going on in the inner seam of the thighs and the groin, it works. But adding the movement into it helps you explore that kind of mindfulness element of where things are happening in your body. So I would always invite you to do that before you take the static movement, if you have time, of course. So we've got 20 more seconds to go here before we are all done. And just work to control the breath a little bit if you pull the body into something a little bit more active. And then roll out of it, Take the legs out in front of you for the last time. Have a shake out. Now we won't enjoy every sequence we do, but I hope that gives you a little bit of something to really kind of get in and release and create a bit of energy in the hip area. I will see you next time. Take care.